Good Tuesday afternoon, everyone. I'm Fox 19 Now First Alert Meteorologist Brad Maushart. A couple minutes late here on a Tuesday, but who's counting? If you've been out and about today, you probably noticed it's a little sultry out there. Again, we really do not have much heat relief the next several days. So if you're going to be out and about, as always, it's July. Take plenty of breaks outside. Come inside to the air conditioning if you can to take some breaks if you have some yard work to do. Today actually going to be one of our lesser rain chance impact days of this next 7, just spotty storms, but still impactful because we could see some storms rolling through this afternoon. And we'll talk more about that and timing and all the rest of the rain chances we have. Next, driest days. Today, Friday, just spotty storms, but not completely rain-free. If you're looking for a completely rain-free day, it doesn't look like we're going to have that opportunity probably until the middle of next week. And it's going to be a ways away until we get there. So get used to it. We're here. It's a very soggy, stormy, steamy pattern outside. Let's take a look at today's weather number. I got too much going on. Let's see. Today's weather number, 247. 247. And the weather number today is probably updated by now. It's probably closer to 249. I did this at 9 o'clock this morning, so maybe even 250, maybe even around 250. Because the weather number of the day that I put in 3 hours ago is the number of hours so far in 2025 with a dew point over 70 degrees. We should see every year or so about 300 hours total. That's the average going back to 1948. At the International Airport when that site began reporting weather data officially. The average is about 300 hours per year. We're already closing in on that. I mean, it's not going to take many more days here to get us up to that because we have, like I said, a slew of moisture in the air. We're just now to the peak time of the year in our moistest months. People hate the word moist, so I'm going to say it as much as possible the next few minutes. Average number of hours with dew points at or over 70 by month. This is our quote-unquote moistest month out there. It's when the crops are the highest. So around this area, particularly the Corn Belt through the tri-state, not just the tri-state, but much of the Midwest. This time of the year, corn is at its mature stage. It's getting close to tasseling outside in a lot of spots, and it puts off a ton of moisture. Actually, tons of moisture, it turns out. 1 acre of corn. Here's a little fun fact. You can put this as your weather number of the day. Maybe I'll save it for tomorrow. I don't know. Why not? We'll use it today. An acre of corn, because it's not weather related, but kind of, puts off 3,000 to 4,000 gallons of water per day into the air. I mean, think about that. That's a ton, right? 3,000 to 4,000 gallons of water per day. It's called evapotranspiration, right? So the crops, they put off moisture. They kind of breathe out the moisture like we breathe out carbon dioxide and whatnot. But the plants will breathe out moisture, right? And expel some moisture. On the, like I said, 1 acre of corn, 3,000 to 4,000 gallons of water. So when you get a 100-acre farm put around a weather station like what we have up in Lebanon, I don't know how big the farm is around that area, what the agriculture looks like around the airport, but we'll just guesstimate and just assume that it's, let's say it's 100, because that makes the math easy for me. That's putting off 3 to 4 million gallons of water a day into the air. That's why those numbers up there are always just a little bit skewed. We say those numbers are a little higher than everyone else just because that airport is surrounded by agriculture. This time of the year can really skew the numbers a bit. So average number of hours, 132.7. I don't know exactly what we're at for just July, but I feel like it has to be higher than the average already because it has just been non-stop, relentless heat, relentless humidity out there. For us here in the tri-state. So August, things start to taper off. I also posted this to Facebook yesterday. A few of you were watching. I had it on the stream as well. Did a little deep dive into the data there at the airport, stretching back to 1948, running through last year. And there's been a steady uptick. Yes, there's always ups and downs. Same goes for temperatures around the tri-state. Ups and downs every year. Some days are cooler, some years are cooler, right? But the general trend line has been adding about 30 more hours per decade since the 40s, right? 3.23 per year times 10, 32.3 hours every 10 years, which, it doesn't sound like a lot. You're like, oh, 1 day per 10 years, but it adds up. I mean, and you're feeling it out there right now. It is sticky. It is sultry. You can feel that humidity. And of course, if you have more moisture, generally you can have more storm chances, and that's what we've seen every day so far. Typically, we start to dry out a little bit. July is still a wet month for us, but it usually comes in bursts, not just a consistent everyday chance. 85 outside right now over at Turfway Park and the airport, 85 at Lunkin, 86 in Middletown. Now, we were just talking about Lebanon, how it skews the numbers a little bit up that way. And you can see there the very sticky spot there, 98 that feels like temperature right now. Let me hop here on the old Facebook and see if we got any questions before I keep on keeping on here past all the nerdy data. Let me turn myself down. All right, nobody yet. It's always good. Yeah, just hot outside. And it's not to say that that number doesn't count or anything. That number absolutely counts. There's just that much agriculture up there near Warren County that, you know, it is going to feel a little bit worse than other spots just because all the moisture is in the air. So be aware of that. Hundreds and hundreds of acres means millions, bajillions of gallons of extra moisture in the air, water being put off by corn sweats this time of the year. And we're not the only ones. I mean, just about everybody here across the Corn Belt, the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, going to be dealing with that through the month of July into early August. That's the peak for corn sweat season. You are in the middle of it. It'll start to get a little better by late August, but not much. Still pretty sweaty out there. For us, it's rain chances. Here we go. You know, we have a few showers already trying to dive into our southwesternmost communities. Off to the west, we have a little lousy low that's kind of riding up the stationary, the front. The front's not moving anywhere. Low's pretty weak, but it's just enough to get these storms with all the heat and all the humidity going this afternoon. You can see some of that just starting to spin up. Another low behind that. We'll dive in early tomorrow morning and stick with us through tomorrow afternoon. And then the front should start moving. A warm front will eventually lift in with weather maker number 2 there, that second low pressure system off to the west. And that will bump temperatures up a bit into Thursday. If you think it's hot now, just wait. It's going to get even warmer out there as we work our way through Thursday. Today, we're looking at about 88, 89 degrees outside. We're talking probably low 90s outside by Thursday, just depending on what happens with the storm chances. If you get some storms by the airport, yeah, that'll drop the numbers a bit. But either way, pretty warm end of this week before better rain chances return to cool things off. Just a few degrees this weekend, a little weak cold front diving in. So a lot going on. Very busy week ahead. There's the rain that's pushing in right now. No rumbles of thunder just yet out there. I have the lightning turned on. You can see a few of those lightning strikes right now just to the south of Bloomington, Indiana, Shawswick area. I don't know if I've ever heard of Shawswick, Indiana, but it's on the map, so I'm talking about it. So yes, there are some rumbles of thunder out there, just none in our area. Expect better chances today here for some rumbles of thunder by about 2, 3 o'clock. So give it another few hours here. Peak daytime heating is when we'll start to see those storms popping up in our area. And yes, we need some rain. I know, Jen, you're asking for rain. I don't know where you've been because we have seen a lot of it. Some areas just have managed to dodge them. You know, the airport's one of those spots. Officially at the airport, less than an inch of rainfall so far for the first half of July. But yesterday we had some areas north of town that saw over 2 inches. So, yeah, it's just been feast or famine for a lot of spots. So if you need the rainfall, don't worry. You have 7 consecutive days of chances there. So if you're really unlucky, you'll miss the rain all next 7 days. But I do think most areas here, at least a ½ inch of rainfall through the next 7 days, through next Tuesday. Some areas could see much more, and that's why we're going to talk some flooding concerns coming up in just a bit. So your weather app, great app to have this time of the year if you have the outdoor plans because, like I said, every day we'll have a chance for some rain, some days better than others. Today's storms are going to mostly fuel on some of that daytime heating, so 3, 4, 5 o'clock. Storms are going to ramp up in intensity. Can't rule out a severe storm today, but it's going to be very, you know, it's not really a big organized threat, but these are storms what we call pulse-type storms. They pulse up with some daytime heating, usually over the span of an hour or so, and at their peak, they could very briefly reach severe criteria, and then they kind of fall in on themselves, right, and they crash on down. As they crash on down, you can certainly see some gusty winds. So that'll be our biggest threat if we see any kind of severe storm today. You know, that'll be it. A very isolated chance, not very organized severe threat, but nonetheless, definitely a storm threat. But even then, it's still one of our lowest chances here of the next 7 to see that. Let me go ahead and show you the weather models. And we'll show you what's going on here in the rain department. So as early as 3 to 4 o'clock, I think that's when the storms really start to fire up across the area. We're already seeing a few downpours outside right now, but most of it, you know, the intense downpours will hold off until a little closer to 3 to 4 o'clock. By 5 to 6, this particular model has that line of storms pinwheeling around that low, coming through the downtown area, a little bit closer to dinner time. Again, these are never great at pinpointing exact storm locations, but it gives you a general idea of when you should be looking at the skies, and that'll be around dinner time tonight, especially around in downtown. But note all the dry time, too. So this is the story of the next 7 days. Yes, there will be storm chances each of those 7 days. And when I say that, you're like, oh, well, it didn't rain at all here the last 3. Yeah, you're not going to see rain, every day in every spot. But there will be chances. The coverage just overall pretty low outside today. So one of our drier days in the next 7. Late tonight, storms fall apart, and then here comes that second low into tomorrow morning. This one particularly does not like northern Kentucky by 8 to 9 o'clock. It'll be swinging on in. If you have to head down towards Louisville tomorrow morning, where the storm is kind of pushing in from, you'll probably run into slowdowns. Again, timing, grain of salt, this could be an hour earlier or later, so don't, earlier generally the better to get out the door, but if you're waiting until 8 to 9 o'clock, you're going to be running into the chance for some storms rolling through downtown to slow you down. Another wave of storms pushes in tomorrow afternoon, but this particular model, as I go ahead just a few more hours here, by 6 to 7 o'clock, dries the area out. This is just one model and one run of one model, so you can't take that, to be 100% accurate, correct, precise. As we work way through this model, different models, same times. Again, this one also bringing those morning showers in through northern Kentucky, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, and then it holds on to better chances for some storms into the afternoon. This is 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, still has some storms in the area. So a little bit more storm activity in the afternoon. Something to keep an eye on because we got a big match down at TQL Stadium tomorrow. But most of the models have been pretty good by 7 to 8 o'clock getting the rain out of here. Can't guarantee a rain-free evening, but it looks a little better than the match on Saturday where we had those storms roll through and create that delay. So through the night tonight, this is what we're expecting temperature-wise. Again, best chances for rain, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock today. By about 7 to 8 o'clock, those storms will start to fall apart, but temperatures are going to remain very mild, 79 by 9, 75 by 11. And then tomorrow morning is a very muggy, mild start. Unlike this morning where we saw some fog in some low-lying areas, we had mostly clear skies. Expect a mostly cloudy start to the day tomorrow. That's going to hold the heat in just a little bit more for tomorrow morning. We're talking temperatures in the low to mid-70s. Soupy start already as you work your way out the door, and you can bet you'll feel the humidity. And with that, again, some storms will be rolling in too as early as the morning hours. Another chance tomorrow afternoon, and temperatures will be just a little cooler than today. We'll end up topping at about 86. That's normal for this time of the year, 86 degrees, and that's where we're going to be for the day tomorrow. We're going to way through. I almost had a heart attack because I thought for a second I forgot to put the slider up for the volume, and somebody would have told me by now. So I don't know why. That was just unnecessary irrational fear of mine, that I forgot to turn the volume up. Anyway, let's talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow we have another chance for storms out there. Again, mostly looks to be an early threat on Wednesday. That's what the models have been hinting at. But there have been a few runs of a few different models that do keep storms in for the evening. So for now, I'm going to keep them in the evening. I think we, aren't going to see the storms like what we saw outside on Saturday, where they have the last big delay, about an hour or so, against Columbus. But, we'll keep our eyes on it. Either way, it's going to be pretty warm out there. Just make sure to stay cool. Very, very sultry. We're going to see feels like temperatures still right around, kickoff at 7:30. Still in the upper 80s, low 90s in a lot of spots. So very, very warm, very humid. It will feel like Miami with Miami coming to town. We do not catch any breaks. So that's like the one thing this time of the year you're hoping for. You see all these rain chances in the forecast. Oh, maybe we'll catch a little bit of a cool down. The last time we were in the 70s was back in mid-June. I think June the 16th. I'd have to go back and check. But it was like mid-June that we saw temperatures just and that was 79. That was our last time we've been anywhere close to comfortable, I guess you want to say. Not to say that some mornings haven't been bad, but every afternoon since has been 80 degrees plus. And the coolest temperature we have the next 7 is going to be 84 for a high temperature. At best, 70 for a low on Tuesday. So, yeah, last high temperature that was 70 degrees or cooler, or in the 70s, was back in like June the 15th or 16th. It was almost a month ago. So we're not going to catch many breaks the next 7. And in fact, After we get towards next week and we start to see our next driest days, maybe Wednesday and Thursday, so we're talking more than a week out, a lot can change there. But right now, that looks to be the next dry period for us. We're back in the 90s and feels like temperatures are probably going to be anywhere between 100 to 100 and maybe even 10. I'll show you one of the models that popped that in earlier, coming up in just a second. But you kind of want the rain chances in the clouds because even though it's hot, it's humid, it's not that hot. It could always be worse. It could always be worse. Muggy meter, not much relief out there. We don't even get in the muggy category through the next 5 days, 6 days. So not anything in the relief department there. Let me show you this. This is feels like temperatures. This is a European model I'm using for this. And you can see the temperatures this afternoon. Yeah, it's going to be hot. I mean, most of the areas are going to be in the upper 90s this afternoon. Actually, this runs through Thursday. That is not today. That runs through Thursday. But either way, very similar forecast to what we're seeing outside today, it turns out. Very similar tomorrow and Thursday, too. Upper 90s, but still likely no triple digits, at least not any widespread stuff. We're going to fast forward through the rain-cooled weekend and go into next week here and go all the way to Tuesday. And you can see by Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday, we see, at least for right now, I have a scattering of storms in there, but the rain chances start to go down a little bit by Tuesday. And you can see where that rain is clearing out to the west because more direct sunshine, lingering humidity. That makes the feels like temperatures in the triple digits. I have those areas highlighted, so the bright pink is going to be triple digits. And look what happens as we work our way into next Wednesday. I mean, this is just a model, and a lot can change, but I mean, woohoo! It's not just a spot or two. It's most of the tri-state that's going to be feeling that heat outside, and that looks to linger into next Thursday too. So remember, it's hot and humid now, but bad news Brad can always make it worse. So again, that's a model. It's not the forecast, but it's a good time of the year to know somebody with a pool. I'll just say that. Let's hop to the 7-day here. Oh, by the way, before we get here, hold on, I know the screen's going to go to black for a second because I'm going to lock up the box. Give me a second here. Here's the 8 to 14-day temperature outlook. Speaking of long-term outlooks, because I knew I did one more thing in here. This runs July 23rd pretty much through the end of the month. And you can see here we are sandwiched well within the well above normal temperature department. And normal, again, for the entire month of July is 86 degrees. That's where, the normal high should be. So expect temperatures generally, more or less, for the next, days 8 to 14, that's the second 7-day forecast basically, to be running above 86 degrees. And that pans out with what I just showed you, with temperatures back likely in the 90s by the middle of next week, and feels like temperatures closer or well above even some spots of triple digits. So well above normal temperatures to close out the month of July. Everybody complained, and I told you this would happen. Everybody complained that it was, the spring, it's too chilly outside. We need some summer-like heat. Well, you got it, and you got plenty of it. The only spot, let me have to zoom back out here, the only spot, California of all places, to be below normal-ish out there. That is it, and they're barely in the below normal category there for coastal California. So everybody else here for the country, for the most part, normal or above normal. In the temperature department. So we will be slow roasting with plenty of company outside. So here we go. Let's go ahead and jump into the 7-day evening forecast. I'm going to pull up the right one for the first time in human history, where we're not going to have to load up 2 of these. Today, spotty storms. Again, we have some showers pushing through. We'll hop back to the radar after I show you this and go back and forth with questions or whatnot. I haven't gotten any, so that's always good. Or complaints for that matter. Maybe one complaint. I think I saw something just roll in on Instagram. We'll look at that. Let's see. Spotty storms today. Tomorrow, scattered. So anywhere you see scattered, that's generally a higher chance than spotty. And you can see we only have one chance for spotty. And that would be coming in Friday. Friday, generally, if you like a percentage, it's about 40% aerial, area of the tri-state. About 40% of us will be dealing with coverage of storms there on Friday. Saturday, Sunday, things pick back up. But you can see temperature's pretty steady. A warm front lifting through Wednesday does push us up briefly to 89. Pretty sultry, and feels like temperatures you saw there just a few minutes ago on Thursday going to be near the 100-degree mark. And then a little cooler with better rain chances into the weekend. But not much cooler. And like I said, that's as good as it's going to get. It's going to be warmer outside next Wednesday and Thursday at least, and probably lingering into the end of next week. So let's see. What was this comment? Please never use the phrase moister than an oyster ever again. Okay. So, yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. I mean, it's going to be sticky outside the next couple of days. A lot of humidity. This time of the year is peak crop season, especially for corn, and we have a lot of it in this area. And as I mentioned earlier, a little fun, not so fun fact is that 1 acre of corn can put off 3,000 to 4,000 gallons on average of water, additional water into the air every single day. So you get a 100-acre corn farm, that's putting off 3 to 4 million gallons. That's math. Yeah, no, it's not great. And that's why if you're like driving through the country, sometimes you'll see a little bit of corn fog late at night when the temperatures cool off a bit. You'll see a little bit of haze near the cornfields. That's all that just sticky moisture. You'll feel it. You put your hand out the window, it'll come back in and almost dripping, right? So a lot of moisture from the crops this time of the year. The relief for that really doesn't come in until late August when they start to harvest. Just past that mature stage, and we're there right now. So peak season for all the evapotranspiration. Don't forget, speaking of, since I got that feedback on Instagram here, you can follow me on all of this social media stuff anytime. Some of you are probably watching on Facebook right now. Probably regretting it, looking at that forecast. Meteorologist Brad Maushart, you can find me there. Bad news, Brad, I should have signed up on all of these. If I had the foresight, if I knew that was going to be my nickname, that would have been my username on all of these things. But it is not. So alas, you're stuck with just the generic meteorologist Brad Maushart. Brad Weather on the X, on the Twitter, BR3As, Weather. And then call me Brad on the Instagram. So you can find me there on those pages. Let's hop back to the radar, see what's going on. Like I said, we had a few showers trying to trickle in here a few minutes ago, and we'll see what's going on with that. See if I have any more things going on. I got nothing on this. I have nothing on this. You guys are taking it too easy on me. Too easy. Here's what we have right now. And again, this coverage of storms today going to be fairly spotty. About 40% of us or so are going to see a storm outside today. Best timing here the next couple of hours, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then things should lighten up a bit this evening. But right now, Grant County, Owen County, seeing some downpours down there. No lightning with these just yet, but of course, not great for the outdoor work if you're trying to get that in right now down in Corinth. Southeastern Grant County. Switzerland County, seeing some showers there near Cotton Township, between Cotton Township and Aberdeen on 250, well, 250 and 56. 56 is the one that runs north-south in that area. And then 250 runs east-west, east of Allensville and, between Cotton Township and, that area. And what is that, Liberty Church? So generally, that area, a little free car wash for you right now. Few itty-bitty showers trying to get going here a little closer to downtown. Let's bump this back last 30 minutes or so and see what happens. Yeah, you can see just a few little baby showers just trying to develop here over in Boone County and near the North Bend area, Cleves, Addiston area there on US 50, River Road. A few little showers there right around Aston Oaks trying to get going. So they're out there right now, widely scattered. Yeah, Brenda's talking about, daily rain chances in Florida, keeping temperatures down. Yeah, just left, we're living down there for a couple of years, and it just, feels like Florida outside. It just feels like we're not getting many breaks outside. That's like the one perk. Yeah, it gets hot and humid here, but generally you have some breaks. We have not had many breaks the last several weeks. Like I said, last time we were in the 70s, just for a high temperature in the 70s, was back in mid-June, June the 16th, I think. It's been 80 degrees plus ever since for high temperatures. So Middletown, that's a question coming in. Any rain in Middletown again today? It just really depends. Right now there's a little downpour pretty close to that area. Speaking of, you can see that one little downpour there. If you look out your window, you've probably seen that rolling on by if you're looking up to the north. Just a scattering of showers, storms today. Very slim chance compared to much of the rest of this forecast, which looks pretty busy. I'll pull up the high-res model again here for you and show you what we got going on. So anytime between now and 2, 3, 4 o'clock, this looks like a newest run of this model. No, maybe not. Maybe it just wasn't popped up right. 3, 4, 5 o'clock, that's where storms are going to be, spotty around the area. As you can see, the coverage is not great today. It's not going to be a widespread storm event, so that's good and bad news. Bad if you're hoping for the rain. Good if you have some outdoor activities you need to get in. Like if you're up at Kings Island today and the storms rolled through at 5, they'd probably be gone by 6. So a minor inconvenience for most for about an hour or so. Can't rule out some gusty winds in a few of these storms, so that's something to keep an eye on outside. But you can see just rolling back and forth between the time. Best timing right around dinner time or so. Off to the southeast, there's still some storms lingering through 8 o'clock tonight down in Mason County, Brown County. And then things should start to fall apart right after sunset tonight. These storms are going to fuel on that daytime heating, so once that sun goes down, they'll lose their fuel source and kind of fall apart a little bit. All right. With that said, I'm going to pull up the 7-day. Thank you for those questions. Appreciate that always. Pull up the 7-day one more time for you so we can see what is going on. Nope, that is not what I wanted to do. How about this one? There we go. And you will see here, today is just one of many chances for rain and storms. We have 7 more days of it to go after today. Our next driest days look to push in Wednesday and Thursday of next week. That is a long ways out. A lot of things can change between now and then, but that looks like our next driest days. But with it, our next hottest days. Temperatures start to trend back up there. Monday, 85. Tuesday, 87. We are likely back in the 90s. Maybe some spots in the mid-90s by Wednesday and Thursday next week, and feels like temperatures are going to be even warmer than that. So enjoy the relatively cool temperatures by comparison out there this weekend. 84 Friday, 85 Saturday, and 86 on Sunday. As always, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. Steve will be back later on this evening. I'll be on at 3 and 4 o'clock. And don't forget the All-Star game is on tonight. Ellie De La Cruz playing in that, and I do believe it will be a late show for us late this evening. I'm sure Steve will talk more about that, but I think it will be on after Fox 19 now at 11 o'clock, so Fox 19 later at 11 o'clock will be on, and he'll be able to fill you in on any kind of weather developments. So up until then, we'll see you later this afternoon around 3 to 4 o'clock. Enjoy your day, everybody.